playing Champions of the Gods by Jonathan Valukas. Valukas, it doesn't really matter. Game's really fun, and we're going to go ahead and carry on into the unknown. If you guys remember last time, I reached the point where I had played originally before my mic had started fucking up, so now we're going to go ahead and continue. It's been a few hours since I played. I believe I killed Siba, or whatever her name was, and convinced two of the people from Kelenos. Yeah, what city from Kelenos? Yeah, I convinced two people from Kelenos that I had killed them, and are they going to be escorting me? Yep, accompanied to our city, King would be anxious to meet you. Yep. The enemy returns. You learn more about your companions as you travel together to Kelenos. The tall soldier is Kiana, a lieutenant in the city's army. The short and somewhat stout soldier is Erythian, a cavalry officer. And may I ask what brought you both here, so far from home? Meredith asks them. We were drawn here by the very mystery you have unraveled, Lieutenant Kiana explains. The king sent us here to search Demina Pass, hoping we would at last discover the source of its peril. But I doubt we would have found anything. We never once saw so much as a sign of life there, and I myself have searched the pass 7 times. Sibyl was no doubt careful to keep her presence hidden from those with the power to vanquish her. Oh, Sibyl was no doubt careful to keep her presence hidden from those with the power to vanquish her, Meredith observes. She would only reveal herself to those she felt she could overcome. And it was a mistake to think she could overcome me because I'm a fucking badass. Then we are most fortunate that your friend Benjamin is no ordinary man. Kiana bows her head slightly in your direction. You faced the witch fearlessly and defeated her. How is it that you came to be so skilled? Though these soldiers have seen the evil of Siba with their own eyes, you doubt they are ready to accept the truth of your destiny. And yet, what point could there be in lying to them? I'm champion of the god, I'm a mere traveler. It is by chance alone that I survived today. Champion of the gods, and no mere witch can overcome my destiny. I'm a mighty hunter of the northern lands. I pity this poor witch for crossing my path. I'm the champion of the gods and possess only such talents that are necessary to fulfill my destiny. That seems alright. Lieutenant Kiana and Officer Erythian are taken aback by your claims of destiny, but your conviction is such that they maintain a respectful silence. In time, your new companions begin to ride ahead of you and Meredith. It is a chance for you to speak to each other unobserved. Your destiny proceeds, observes the old man. This Siba was clearly a vestige of the First Age. Now Agosa is safe from a dark power that has plagued it for centuries. You suppose it is true that Agosa is a better place without Siba. Yet I am uneasy about the thought of having destined to be her destroyer, and if it's my destiny to rid the world of abominations like her, I proud to accept it. Perturbs me that she was immortal. We're going to go with this one. The land comes to an end at the edge of a rocky cliff. The party slows down to view what lies beyond, the city of Kelenos. You hear Meredith speak the words so familiar to you by now. Is it all that you dreamed? He asks. There's so much you realize that you did not notice. Even in the 100 visions that foretold your arrival, you are most impressed by thousands of people crowding in the pass. Thoughts that was crafted by mortal hands. Great Tryphon, the king, rising in the temple in the center of the city. I'm gonna go with Sophia because that's the goddess of wisdom, and it happened. Oh, it's the patron goddess. Okay, so cool. You and your party, so I guess Sophia is kind of like my goddess, and the Ataria, or whatever her name was, the goddess of love. I suppose that those are like the 2 primary gods that my character is concerned with, I guess, since I got visited by her. You and your party make your way down the side of the hill, through the towering stone pillars that mark the entryway, along streets crowded with merchants, priests, and strange foreign beasts of burden. Finally you come to the gates of the palace itself, where Lieutenant Kiana secures your chambers of honor. Your new lodgings consist of 3 rooms on a terrace, each the size of your house in Onicia. The interior is painted a dusty red. I will do my best. That's her. I will do my best to secure an audience with the king this evening, the lieutenant explains. In the meantime, make yourselves comfortable. You and Meredith enter. It is cool inside, despite the sun. Shelf-like platforms set into the walls, covered with woven mats, serve as bed. A splendid pattern of pointed red leaves twist along the ceiling. There are 2 jugs decorated with the image of naked runners engaged in a foot race on a shelf too high for anyone to reach. Interesting. Very, very nice jugs you have there. What do you think? Asked Meredith, his voice strangely quiet. I've never seen anything like it. I will take my home in Onicia one day. We have done nothing to deserve such honor. Only 3 rooms, not a wing. We've done nothing to deserve such an honor. Your words have changed something in Meredith. You suddenly feel a great welling up of grief in his heart. When he turns to face you, he is in tears. Meredith, you ask? What is the matter? I do not deserve to be here, he replies. That is the matter. I do not deserve to be in your sight, let alone traveling by your side, after what I have done. You gently place your hands on your friend's shoulders. You tell him, you saved my life, Meredith. I will never forget that, neither should you. What you fought that day was not my father, Meredith. It was the work of Degoris, our true enemy. So long as the Weavers control our actions, none of us can be held to blame for them. We're going to go with this one. I will try to remember that. I can only try. It is barely 3 hours before Officer Erithian knocks on the door to your chambers. The lieutenant has secured you an audience, Benjamin. Benjamin is to come with me immediately. I don't know why I read that as a comma. The king sits on a throne with a high back, tall columns on either side of it. Around him stand soldiers and members of his court. A robe of red is draped over his shoulders, flowing down over his feet. His gaze is piercing, but his eyes must approve of what they see, for he smiles warmly as you approach his throne. Welcome to Kelenos, Benjamin. Lieutenant Kiana tells us of your great destiny, and your victory over the dweller in Demina Pass. Our own forces have endeavored to vanquish this fiend for years, with no success. And this you did in only one night. Frankly, we are amazed. Hi, Hopi. Go on. Go to bed, or go downstairs. Those who cross me will know defeat, that is certain. No. I only did what was necessary to protect my old friend. Okay. Prepare for more amaze. No. I only sought to keep Agosa safe from what lurked there. Actually, I did it more to save him than the whole Agosa thing. Because I had no idea that it was a first age vestige when I was there the first time. Vestige. Your humble words hearten the court, and the hanger-on begin muttering in approval. Equally impressed is the king himself. Hear me, Benjamin. Long has our city yearned for united Agosa, and though I am no seer, your victory in Demina Pass is a sign to my eyes that you are the key to that hope. I wish to offer you a place of honor in Kelenos' army. You know in your heart that your destiny and the king's are linked. Any resistance would only bring the Weaver's wrath down upon you, and so you follow the king's suggestion. But the moment you speak out, you hear a gruff voice call from behind the throne. This is absurd, my king. The words belong to a man wearing ornate armor and a bitter expression. Great. A subject of great honor to stand so close to the king. Is a single victory all that will take to achieve rank in our army, he asks. If a young merchant drunk on wine should find victory in a brawl tonight, would he, too, be honored with a shield? Asshole. A defeated expression appears on the king's face as he nods slowly to the speaker, then turns his attention back to you. Though his manner may be coarse, General Agranax's instincts have led our people to victory many times. I am afraid we will have no choice but to do as he suggests. Your training will commence tomorrow, and I am confident it will proceed with honor. The king stands and leaves, and the audience around him begins to disperse. Yet you cannot help but notice an unknown member of the court has remained behind. She is a woman of noble bearing, whose eyes glitter with fierce intelligence. She wears the scarlet robe of royalty. A woman of military bearing, whose eyes smolder with intensity. She wears the ceremonial armor. A woman of gentle demeanor, whose eyes bespeak innocence and hope. A figure of poetry in flowing white. I don't think I'm ready for a relationship yet. Go ahead and go with the noble one. You approach each other. She speaks first. I see you have been initiated into our palace's loathed hobby, tangling with General Agranox. Take care that you do not show a talent for the task, or you may be asked to join our council. One look in her eyes, and you know that there will be no hiding from this woman, so you speak from the heart. General Agranox merely wishes to have a well-trained fighting force. I can appreciate that. The old man is threatened by me, as he should. No. I would be glad to join your council, but I am sure I can be more used to killing us in battle. I am no mere politician. I am a warrior. We're going to go with the first one. Such diplomacy for a warrior. Then again, I suppose I only have General Agranox's behavior to judge them by. But how rude of me. I have not introduced myself. I am Princess Nurala, and greatly honored to meet you. There is no denying that the princess is quite fetching. You attribute her appeal to her noble features, the way her intelligence embodies the appeal of people, power she wields so easily. So common. We're going to go with this one. Merely regarding her, I feel strangely drawn to her. I know that I must win her love if I am to become king. I am unmoved despite her charms. Gotta stay single, ladies. You tell the princess that it has been a pleasure meeting her, and you begin making your way back to your chambers. You think how strange it is that Aticia regards you as her servant. Does she not realize that you are a warrior? There is simply no room in your life for love. Some might say this makes the warrior's path a desolate one. You only know that it is proud. I don't really consider myself a warrior. I consider myself more of a tactician. But sure. The next morning you wake with the sun and walk to the training yard. It lies just within the city to the north. The compound is not unlike a farm in appearance, one with stone walls where the timber would be. Kiana waits for you in a wide circle of sand. A shield has been placed for you there. You step inside and take it up. Looking around, you cannot help but notice that you and the lieutenant are alone. You will be my only student today, she explains, pulling a helmet down over her face. But rest assured, my interests in you extends to sparring alone. Okay, so she's trying to be like, don't worry, this isn't a thing. We're just fighting. Okay? Don't think this is anything else. She throws a second helmet to you. To that end, let us spar. Shh, be quiet, Hopi. You don the helmet, and she throws a wooden sword. As you catch it, she begins running towards you, raising her own wooden weapon high above her head, using her momentum to build force into the attack. Block the blow with my own sword and shove her back. Drop down and roll as she draws near, and then jab her from behind. I don't stab people in the back. Block the blow with my shield while swinging. Okay, so this is training. So if anything I choose here will affect this. So if I go block the blow with my shield while swinging my sword at her, block the blow with my own sword and shove her back, that's strength. This would be resilience, and this would be speed. So if I want to get my resilience up, it would be this one, right? So then my resilience increased? No, they're both strength. Okay. Though you are successful blocking the sword, the force of Kiana's blow knocks you backward, and you fail to make your counterattack. You are simply no match for her strength, which seems to be less of an attribute and more of an elemental force. You must take care not to rely on your might. Kiana advises. This is sound advice from a woman who relies on hers perhaps too much. Now let us see if you are fast. Barely taking a breath, Kiana surges closer and begins swiping at your chest with her wooden sword. Clearly I'm fast. I mean, that's like my main attribute. Let's go for something else. Charge at her hard with my shield, head down. That's more strength. Back away from her advance. That's my speed. And drop the shield and charge, allowing the blows to rain down. That would be my resilience, right? So my resilience is at 73. If I do this one, my resilience should increase. Yep, it's at 75 now. Okay. If you can withstand attacks from iron weapons, you have no need to fear wooden ones. You let her deal you blow after blow, and while it hurts, you still manage to press forward with your weapon. She is forced to parry at the last second. Good work, she comments. When lacking one quality, rely on another. Your constitution is an asset. After a few more rounds of sparring, Kiana shows you to the armory. You are surprised to find that General Agranox's soldiers do not use arrows except for training. The general calls them dishonest weapons of the eastern lands. In their place, Kalinos' riders use javelins. Kiana allows you to work with one. It is light to carry and flies a long distance with little effort. Apparently the riders carry many of them at once, using a special kind of quiver. Finally, Kiana shows you to the Kalinos army's wide-headed swords, which work almost like hammers. The weight of the blade drives the weapon forward as you swing. They are deadly in any hands. As the sun sets on your first day of training, Kiana accompanies you back to your chambers in the palace. The corridor to the chambers is so wide that it feels more like a road, and its ceiling is open to the sky. When you come closer to your door, you notice someone waiting there, Princess Nurala. Kiana grins, recognizing the visitor. Good evening to you. Good evening, Lieutenant Kiana, and to you too, Novice Benjamin. You bow politely. So tell me, Lieutenant, Nurala asks, how does Benjamin's training proceed? Will he do you honor once he has joined your ranks? You notice that though the princess speaks of you, her eyes remain fixed squarely on your companion. He is ready to join us in battle at any moment, Kiana replies, her eyes returning to the princess's steady gaze. I did only show him the basic formations. But it is only his first day. Perhaps we should leave Benjamin to his slumber. As they stroll past you together, you glance into their hearts and learn that Kiana and the princess are joined in love. When they are far enough away to think themselves unobserved, the princess even steals a kiss. Interesting. I am grateful that I am free of such encumbrances. I envy them, the love they share. Truly the weavers want nothing more than to make fools of all mortals. Love is only another one of their tools. I would envy the love that they share. I can respect lesbians. Your training proceeds over the next 6 weeks. You are being groomed as a mounted combatant, and despite your novice status, the king has handed down the order that you be given your own unit in the next engagement. General Agranax makes it a point to ignore your sparring matches and riding trials, perhaps to avoid the obvious proof of your skill, but Lieutenant Kiana remains encouraging. One afternoon, during a series of javelin runs, she calls you down from your house. Soon you will have your first opportunity to fight alongside us, she explains. A band of thieves has settled in the low canyon of Caval, and we must drive them out. I look forward to the chance to prove myself. A band of thieves hiding in some canyon. This is hardly a good use of my talents. I will gladly show these fools to us. Prove myself. I'm afraid I cannot promise anything so glorious. These thieves are easy prey for an organized force such as ours. It would be no challenge to rout them. Even so, I am told this particular band is the scourge of the villages. They are called the Tamak. You find yourself lost in your memory, drawn back to the moment when you first saw them stampeding down the Epsikos hills near the stolen armory. Obviously, I'm going to see Hethikos again at some point. Your eyes tell me that this name is not strange to you. It is not. When I was young, the Tamak attacked our village. A boy my age was taken. Hethikos was named. Oh, there you go, talking about Hethikos. This is tragic indeed, but surely you know that your friend, however loyal he was once, is now a full-fledged Tamak, especially if he was taken young. It is the way with thieves. The march to Gaval Canyon begins the next day. Princess Nurala watches you go from the city gates, cheering with the citizens. Kiana smiles proudly. She knows for whom the princess cries. Got it, lesbians. The army trudges out. The soldiers of the line lead the front of the caravan. You and the other mounted riders follow behind them, and the skirmishers keep to the back of the long column, the loudest and most unruly of the bunch. You have only just learned the ways of our army, Kiana observes. Before we are in the midst of battle, is there anything you wish to know? Army structure, thank you, friends. I don't think I need to know too much, really. Very well, and yet I sense that something puzzles you. You wear a perplexed expression. This much is true. Looking back on my training, I recall you saying that skirmishers, the line, and the riders are equally important facets of a fighting force. Yet I cannot help but notice... Oh, I just pick one? That we have few riders. This much is true. Riders are used primarily for defense, and we do not expect to encounter much opposition from the Tamak. For that reason, General Agranax has brought few riders with us to the battlefield. The next morning, when the sun is at its height, the march on the Tamak camp begins. You proceed at the head of your mounted unit. Lieutenant Kiana commands a second unit, and Officer Erythian a third. It is plain to see that all three groups of riders are slightly depleted. But that was the general's decision, not yours. As you draw closer to the Tamak camp, actually, it kind of was my decision. To the Tamak camp, your line begins to fall into formation. The skirmishers loom behind them, and 3 units of riders bring up the rear. Yet all the while, a dark feeling in your soul begins to grow. As though I have stepped into someone else's destiny, as though today is somehow wrong, through and through, a feeling like the one that overcame me when Dagoras sent the dream. Okay, so this is Dagoras again? I feel like I've stepped into somebody else's destiny. I don't want to fuck up my destiny. The dark presentiment reaches its fruition when you arrive in the canyon and you see your foes. For the Tamak are no longer wearing the ragtag armor and helmets from the innumerable raids. They are clad instead in shining silver armor. And something else has changed too. Great. They are in formation, Kiana observes. And so they are. A solid line of soldiers marks the front of their company. Behind them are many lightly armored skirmishers, more than you have even in your own company, and directly behind these are armored riders. Well, we're fucked. General Agranax is not impressed. They are dressed like an army now, he barks, but they will still fight like thieves. Move on them. Officer Arithian's unit gallops off to protect the right flank, while the soldiers in line begin their relentless march forward. Your prospects for victory look good, and yet you know from your presentiment that Dagoras is somehow to blame for this mischief. There is doubtless more silver armor that meets the eye. My destiny is again being threatened. Obviously, Dagoras has got something to do with this, because he's just trying to fuck up my destiny all over the place. Maybe there's something more about the armor and it'll tell me. General Agranax orders your unit to proceed to the left flank, and you obey. But just as you move, a volley of silver arrows from the western ridge sails down. They give them silver weapons, too. Their target raises his shield too late. The general and his mount crumple to the ground together, cut down by the attack. Kiana howls with rage. "Protect the line," she orders. "These thieves must pay." At this, Kiana gallops off with her own unit of riders to mount the ridge. But does she realize that she is leaving you protect the center of the line by yourself? You look over the field. Oh, great, I get to be a tactician. One glance at the enemy reveals that the late general was wrong. These Tamak are not merely dressed as warriors. As their line advances and clashes with yours, the thieves move fluidly and react quickly, as though they have undergone years of training in only one night. These are not the God damn yawning. Toughs you knew from Onicia. This strange armor has made them into soldiers. Even a line as well fortified as yours will soon give way to such force. Let them come, our riders will target the Tamak skirmishers, thinning their numbers. We will break through first. Our skirmishers will pelt the enemy line with stones to weaken their defenses. Let's not throw rocks. Let them come, our riders will target mounted Tamak. You don't use your mounted units against mounted units. Just saying, you leave that for the front line. So we're going to use our riders to kill the Tamak skirmishers. Sometimes the way to end a battle early is to start it early. You order your riders to hurl their javelins over the line at the Tamak skirmishers. You thin their numbers somewhat, but only somewhat. Meanwhile, the advance of the Tamak line proves relentless. A break in your own line soon appears, and the enemy skirmishers pour through to your side of the battle. Though their numbers have been reduced slightly, their resolve is unshaken. Thankfully, all is not lost. You can see that the mounted Tamak are beginning to abandon their defense of their right flank, leaving it vulnerable to attack. Okay. Confront the invading Tamak with skirmishers, riders, skirmishers, rider surprise, skirmishers lead, riders. We'll take on the Tamak with our riders, and our skirmishers will lead the charge, because that's how this works. Your riders handily trounce the invading skirmishers. Great. As for your skirmishers, they break through the weak right flank to the opposing side of the field. Once there, they manage to defend against the Tamak's mounted defense. Though it is a bitter fight, the battle is yours. Yeah! Victory in Caval Canyon! Soon the entire canyon is a muddle of battle. The only thing that is clear is this: your warriors are prevailing. There is a roar of approval from the soldiers as Kiana and her unit return to the battle. Kiana rides her steed to stand beside yours. You have the battle well in hand, she observes. Worry not, we have left some Tamak for you. I have done only what I can, no thanks to you. Okay. Would that all men wore understatement so well. To your surprise, Kiana maneuvers directly into the fray, and dismounts in the midst of the Tamak. Her strength impressed you during training, but seeing it in action, you are truly amazed at its power. She cuts the enemy soldiers down like dry timber. She throws them like children. That's an image I want in my head, sure. Kiana's gift is unmistakable, but as you stare transfixed, a Willy Tamak fighter leaps at you from the back of a passing horse, his dagger drawn. Instantly rear my horse back so the attacker tumbles off, catch the leaping attacker and heave him over my head using his momentum against him, elbow him forcefully in the helmet so as to upset his balance. So, will this increase my stats? So if I go speed and instantly rear my horse, so I have 77, 55, and 88. So if I do that, 77, 55, and 88, still the same. Your reflexes serve you well. The horse responds to your orders and drops the attacker off its back before he can touch you. When he hits the hard earth, his helmet rolls off. The attacker is Hethakos, the lost boy of your own village. It would have been impossible for him to have known that he was fighting his old companion, but would it have mattered to him if he had? He is a Tamak now, after all. Trample with my horse, bury a javelin in his chest, or tell him to run. Run, my old friend! He is so stunned by your words he does not move. Run, you cry. This time he stands and rushes into the crowd. The Tamak begin to flee the camp. As they do, you notice that the strange armor seems to be fleeing as well in its way. It tarnishes and crumbles from their bodies as they run, as though their retreat itself has broken its spell. Through the clamor, you hear a low voice speak a familiar name. Dagoras, it moans. Dagoras. You look down from your horse and see a dying Tamak fighter squirming in the dust. You lied, Dagoras, he whimpers. You dismount and kneel beside the man. What do you know of Dagoras, you ask. The dying Tamak looks at you with glassy eyes, only half aware that you are real. Made us a gift of armor, did Dagoras, he wheezes. Told us it would turn us into true warriors. Said his gift would win the battle for the Tamak. Change our paths. His breathing is growing thinner. He is fading. How could the armor have changed your paths? Did he say why he wanted to change your paths? How did you know the man was Dagoras? We're going to go with that one, because I want to make sure. Man, laughs the dying Tamak. Dagoras is no man. He is the god of chaos. His aspect was fierce, terrifying, yet his words were kind. He said that he loved us, even if the weavers did not. He said that with his armor we could change the course of the battle, undo the champion's path, end it all. End it all. The Tamak smiles and closes his eyes. His next word is his last. Destiny. End destiny? Is such a thing even possible? Perhaps it was something Dagoras promised merely to secure the Tamak's support. But then again, had Dagoras' plan come to fruition that day? Your own life... Wait, had it come to fruition that day, your own life would certainly have ended, and your destiny with it. With that finished, how many other mortal pathways could be likewise thwarted? How many others led astray? Until now, you had no reason... So I am the person that affects so many different pathways, and that's what Meredith was talking... Or the Oracle was talking about, right? Was it the Oracle that told me about the fact that the path... No, it was Meredith. Perhaps he has larger ones in mind, but where else are the gods hiding? But why did the gods not tell me the truth? But I am sure the gods had good reason to protect me from this revelation. Obviously, they didn't want to take me too far off stray, because if I were to go after Dagoras, then that would mess up my destiny even further and have worse consequences. The injured are being carried off to your camp. Only the dead remain, most of them Tamak. You watch as their armor melts off, withering in the sun like fallen leaves. Even their blades are crumbling to dust. Lieutenant Kiana has returned to her horse. She rides to stand beside you. These thieves are faithless creatures, she explains. It will be up to us to bury their fallen. I will take no... Okay, so this is deciding to bury them again. Yes, let it begin. We cannot allow sacrilege. No part. Tamak beasts. Body serve respect. Nope. Add the Tamak to bonfire. No, I'm not going to ask about that because the bonfire is... I don't know if you guys know this, but the bonfire is, it's supposed to be a greater honor than simply being buried, even though it's a lot easier to just toss somebody on a bonfire than it is to bury them. You join the Kelenos army, digging shallow trenches for the fallen Tamak, burying the bodies with silent prayers. As the task wears on, you notice a single figure standing apart from the group, watching you. You turn, squinting in the noon sun. You expect to see Kiana, but it is not a soldier of Kelenos at all. It is Hethekos. "A Tamak!" cries Erethian, drawing a weapon. You gesture for him to stand down and walk to your erstwhile companion. You ask, "Looking for another chance to kill me? Are you here to help? Old friend, why do you return?" "I do not know. It is possible that I do not belong here at all. Yet I am sure of one thing, Benjamin. I am no longer a Tamak." "I don't think that's how it works, bro." He walks to the field of burial, joining the army in its grim task. The soldiers watch him warily, but they do not stop him. In time, the purpose at hand overcomes their concerns. It is done at dusk, and the soldiers return to camp, carrying Kelenos' dead with them. Hethekos accompanies you silently, following at a distance. That night, the bonfire rages in the darkness, lighting passage from Agosa for those who perished here today. But there is another light in the hills tonight, beyond the darkness at the edges of the camp. It is a glowing rectangle near the cliffs, about the size of a small tree. You are about to point out its presence to Lieutenant Kiana when you realize that the light may be intended for your eyes alone. This could be another doorway to Arcadis, like the one that you passed through back in Onicia. You wait for an opportunity to slip away from the camp unnoticed, and then you make your way into the night, drawn toward the light in the distance. When you are close enough to cross the threshold, you step through and find yourself once more in Atesia's downy chambers. Atesia herself sits before you on her throne. You draw closer until you can see her diadem, glittering like a sky filled with stars. "Congratulations, champion. You continue to be a force to be reckoned with, even when faced with Dogoras' Medin. Those Tamak fools made it easy for me to do you honor in this way. All thanks due to mighty gods, who I owe all. No thanks to the mighty gods. We're gonna say, yeah, good, thank you. When faced with trials such as yours, destiny alone is not enough to win the fight. That is why your skill is so precious to your skin. Ah, lovely skin. I love your tan. But on to another matter. We have bestowed upon you the gift of charm. Does this gift serve you well, or do you wish to relinquish it? See no reason to part with the ring now. Wish to be rid of so-called gift immediately. I have learned much from your gift, but I am ready to fight without it now. I think I can do without it. After all, it didn't really help me too much. Very well. With a flick of Atesia's wrist, the silver ring appears on your finger once more and dissolves into a pop of glittering dust. Atesia reaches her hand out to you, as though to push you backwards, and a great wind begins to move you toward the doorway. Before it can carry you away, you realize that you have one more crucial question to ask the goddess. Wish to know what the gods concealed Dogoras' true purpose from me. I wish to know where their destiny can truly be destroyed as Dogoras hopes. Let's go with the first one. I have learned that by striking me off my path, Dogoras hopes to unseat my destiny itself. But can he be stopped? You must trust in the weavers, Atesia replies. By fulfilling the path they have forged, you can heal the wounds that Dogoras has dealt to destiny. That is the reason we could not tell you his true aim from the start. The knowledge alone would change your path in ways that it was never meant to be changed. And this is the same reason we must now part. The wind grows strong enough to lift you off the floor, and you are carried away into the doorway, into the night air. Alright, that looks like a pretty good place to leave off. So I got into a huge I got enrolled in the king's army, got into a huge battle, won, and I got my ring taken away by Atesia. And go ahead and leave it off there. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.